In this video, we're going to be improving your catch photos from this to something a bit more like this. And it doesn't involve buying one of these. Pointer number one isn't even camera related, it's fish welfare. No photo is worth putting a carp, or any fish for that matter, at risk. So make sure that everything is set up before that fish has even left the water. So unhook mat is prepped and freshly wetted down. Fresh cold water from the lake, never leave that to sit in the sun, always get fresh water. Everything you need to help you unhook the fish, whether that be forceps in case the hook's a bit difficult to get out, your carp clear clinic for any kind of damage to the mouth, and scales and that, all of that should all be set here. So once the fish is over here, you don't have to leave it to go and grab something. And that includes your camera setup. If you want a photo of that fish, you don't want to do all of that and then think, oh, I need to grab my camera to get a photo and then leave the fish. That should already be set up, ready to go. So it's all one clean sweep. Fish out, cared for, unhooked, lifted for the camera, got your photo, and back to water as quickly as possible. Pointer number two, the backdrop, the location. Where exactly are you going to take a photo of your fish? And of course, this is going to change from venue to venue, whether you're on a rural place, urban, built up, or barren. So the choices may be slightly different than what's in this video. But today, I've got the option of a big grassy bank behind the camera, I've got the tree line behind me, or I've got a long straight bank, which would mean that the back of my photo will slowly drift off into the distance, especially when adding a bit of blur, which we'll get onto later on. Because I think we'll all agree a catch photo looks a lot nicer with a backdrop like this than it does with a lopsided pod or a bivvy door. Point number three is all about securing your phone in position for the photo. Now, of course, if you're fishing with a mate or the guy next door is happy to take a photo for you, not a problem, they can do it for you. But if you're on your own, it can be a bit of a nightmare. Trying to balance your phone on top of a bucket lid, it's not quite the right angle, and just you think you've got the photo sorted, it falls over and you've lost your chance. So I went onto Amazon and bought three different options just for you guys to consider. The first one was a lightweight tripod, and this really is lightweight, there's nothing to it, it's quite plasticky, but it did come with a phone mount at the top which can be mounted in that direction, or you can flip it around, make it landscape, do what you want with it, and it jacks up pretty tall. It's probably about 5 foot in height, this one. Whether you need anything that high and this sort of robust for on the bank for selfies, I don't think you do, but it's an option there. And also, it's only going to be good for really flat banks because it's probably going to fall over. One of the things I did like about this kit is it came with this, a little Bluetooth fob that you connect to your phone and you press the button and it takes the photo for you. So that could be very handy whether you get that on its own or as a kit. The second option is probably the cheapest one of them all, and that is a little bank stick adapter, and it looks like this. Dead simple, it converts the thread of any old bank stick to a thread that fits either a phone mount like I've got right here, or if you do have a camera and you don't always take a tripod with you, it's the same thread that goes into the bottom of a camera. So if you do take a little SLR with you and you want to just set it up like this without taking a big tripod every time, you can do that. So stick it into a bank stick, that's now secured. There you go, a monopod which you can stab into the ground and take photos. So that's probably the cheapest option, but again, if you're on a bank or a wooden platform or concrete, that's not going to be ideal for you. So my favourite option out of the three that I bought was this guy. It's a flexible gooseneck arm, I think this is called, with a big clamp on the end, which would probably take up to an iPad in size, or my phone. Any kind of phone is universal, and then you clamp it to whatever you like. This clamp goes open pretty wide, so you can clamp this down onto a weighted bucket with your bait in, onto a tree limb if there's one next door to you, or what I would probably use it on, which I have done today, is on the back of my chair. Pretty much everyone takes something weighty enough to connect this to, and then all you got to do is maneuver this around into the perfect height and position you want, and you don't have to worry about how undulated the ground is. It goes wherever you want. And also, another big benefit of this is if you're like me, in the evenings when you're night fishing, you want to watch a bit of stuff on your phone, but you've always got one hand out getting cold in the winter, this will connect to my bed chair and I'll be able to watch stuff on my phone hands-free. So I've got both my hands to keep warm in the bed chair. So you've now chosen your preferred method of mounting your phone. As you can see, I've attached this to the back of my chair. That's not going anywhere. And with this gooseneck arm, I can maneuver it around and position it exactly where I want it. I want the height to be about level with here where I'm going to be holding the fish, so that's about bang on. I'm going to put my phone into the mount and put it on selfie mode. So the first thing I can do is go around to where I'm going to be holding the fish and check I'm actually happy with the framing. I can then take some test shots, make sure I'm happy with it. So right now I can see that's facing up too much. I want this camera to be as level, straight and pointing forward as best as possible. You don't want to be pointing up, pointing down. It's going to ruin the perspective a little bit. So that needs tilting down ever so slightly to about there. Do a test shot. And I can see that's a bit too close. So I have to move the camera back ever so slightly. To about there. Another test shot. And I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. So I've got this on its selfie mode at the moment. Of course, that's going to work, and there's different ways of taking a photo on your phone, which we'll go into in a second. But normally, the selfie camera on a phone isn't the best quality one. So now I'm happy with the framing and how that looks. I'm just going to spin the camera around to the main camera and put the camera back in the mount, but now using the front-facing camera. Now I've got the best quality camera to go. Take my photos of that, and we're good to go. But taking the photo, now I can't see the screen and everything. How do I do that? And that's the next. Point number 4 is how do you actually take the photo when your hands are full with a fish? Well, of course, you've got the Bluetooth option that we've already had a quick look at, but as you can see, it's a bit awkward to even hold. I'm not sure how well this would fare up being covered in water and slime whilst you're trying to hold a fish and look good for the camera. So I don't think that's going to be the best option. Alternatively, just download an app on your phone. That's exactly what I've done. So if I get my phone off here, go to my apps, you'll see I downloaded one called Sensory Voice Selfie. And on here, there's several different voice prompts you can have it set to take a photo for you. Mine's set to take my picture. And it works as simple as that. There's a little timer on there, so it gives you a chance to stop talking, pose, smile with your fish, or look frowny if you prefer. It does that for you. So you've got different trigger phrases on this, so leave it on that. Set it back up. And do another test shot. Take my photo. And as simple as that, I've taken a photo. I can then check I'm happy with that. And I am, that's absolutely perfect. So all I need to do now is catch a fish. Take my photo. Well, my fish now slipped back. It's time to check the photos. Everything was prepped before the fish was out, so I know the photos should be bang on. And looking through them, they are way better than what they would be if I didn't have some way of mounting my phone in the correct position and taking the photo completely hands-free. So I'm happy with that. And pretty much for most people, that would be good to go. But if you want to get a little bit more from your images, then maybe something as subtle as blurring out the background ever so slightly will give them that little bit extra bit of pop and definition to the fish compared to the background. So I found another free app, one called Auto Blur. Once you open that, it will do an automatic job for you on selecting what it thinks it wants to be the subject and blur the rest. But thankfully, if it's not perfect, you can actually do a little bit of touching up yourself, going in really fine tune, make sure that the tail's perfect, the dorsal, you're fully select. That's exactly what I've done with this fish. And then I altered the amount of blur to make sure I was happy with how blurred out the background was. So for those of you that want to really blur out the background because you don't want people to see where you're fishing, of course you can do that. Alternatively, just knock it back ever so slightly to make sure that fish and you pops a bit more. You can do that, then export. And as you can see, the photo compared to the original one is ever so slightly blurred on the background. It's sharp around the edges where it needs to be because I fine-tuned it. And overall, compared to a standard phone on the floor photo, I think that's a lot better without having to bust the bank to buy a big camera like I use and shoot all my content on. So that's 5 key pointers on how to improve your cat's photos with just your phone without the need to break the bank with expensive camera equipment like that one and that second camera down there. Anyway, I hope this helped you get some better photos for yourself, and if it has, please send it to a mate that needs to improve their photos. And of course, if there's anything I've missed that you think would be beneficial for people, put it in the comment section below. Let's make this a central hub of information for people to come, learn and go away with a better understanding of how to improve their photos. Not just on this topic, but I've also done one on night fishing tips. If you haven't seen that one, check the link in the description below. And if you want to see more videos like this on tips, put some topics in the comment section below as well, and hopefully I can make them in the future. I enjoy making them, and hopefully you guys enjoy watching them. So that's all for now. Cheers for watching. I'll see you in the next one.